The average Calgarian doesn't know much about chickens and may have never even seen a live chicken. We will let you know all the basics about keeping them so that you can have all the facts. Then you can form your own opinions as to whether or not you support chickens in Calgary.
It is surprising how a city like Calgary, with our history of being pioneers and adaptive go-getters, has lost a connection to our food sources. If you look at the formula, it's not that hard to take care of chickens.
One of the big reasons as to why my mom wanted to get chickens is because she wanted to go more local, so that we weren't using as much fossil fuel. And also so she would know how to get her own food if the predictions about running low on oil really happened.
One day there isn't going to be any more oil.
If you look at the cost of keeping chickens, you can see that you don't really need to spend a lot of money on their upkeep. The chicken coop is the most expensive part, but if you build it well, it can last 20 years, so not that much per year. You get back a lot of value in the eggs and the compost that the chickens give you.
The average dog costs $2,000 to keep, and a cat can cost $1,130 the first year. And they don't even give you anything to eat.
A big reason to have backyard chickens is that it's so inexpensive. Allowing people to keep chickens can really save them money on their groceries.
You give a man a fish and he eats for a day. You teach a man to fish, he eats for a lifetime. You teach a family how to take care of chickens and they eat all year.
In Canada, people spend different portions of their monthly budget on food, even though they spend the same percentage on their clothes and cars. If grocery prices increase, and they have been, then the poorest people in our country cannot buy as much food or as good food as everyone else. Why not just buy eggs at the store? This is a common question. The reason why you want eggs from backyard chickens is because pasture chickens have more nourishing eggs. It makes sense that a chicken that is actually in the sunshine and walking around eating bugs and greens is going to give you healthier eggs.
Buying eggs from organic free-range chickens can cost $7 at the local farmer's market. Why not just keep backyard chickens and get your eggs for free?
Calgary has a unique climate in that chickens can free range on our typically snow-free lawns during Schnucks in the winter, and still have access to dirt. Certain breeds are quite comfortable living in cooler temperatures. Feathers are quite insulating. Just think about magpies that hang around all winter. Most other birds leave because of the lack of food.
Another good reason to have chickens in the winter is that frozen chicken poop doesn't smell.
The more that individuals are able to acquire food sources from their own backyards, the less we need to rely on fossil fuels for transportation and refrigeration of goods. If we produced as much food as we could from our own backyard, potatoes, carrots, beets, zucchini, eggs, etc., then we can have fossil fuels to bring us stuff that doesn't grow well here, such as coffee, olive oil, mangoes, or bananas.
Don't forget chocolate.
On garbage days, I'm amazed at how much garbage our neighbors put out. We put out a tiny little kitchen garbage bag because we recycle so much, and we don't throw out table scraps. Whenever the fridge is cleaned out or we are scraping the plates, the chickens get it.
Imagine 52 times what you put out to the curb each week. Think about how much of that could be taken care of by a couple of chickens.
When our chickens were 6 months old, one laid their first egg. My younger brother said, "We're a farm!" Which is kind of neat, thinking of your yard as producing something, rather than just sucking up energy.
I think that a chicken can be its own little recycling unit. Reduce, reuse, recycle.
There's been an incredible change in Canada's population with more and more people living in urban settings. Combine that with population growth, and it means that you have fewer farmers overseeing food for more people. When my grandmother was a child, she lived in a world where more people farmed or knew their farmer. It's amazing how in just 2 generations this has changed, yet we act like it's normal or traditional to have so few farmers controlling our food.
If the farmers in the country took care of the big animals on their big farms, then we can take care of the smaller animals like chickens on our little urban farm.
In just a few years, farmers have had incredible pressure to increase their productivity. Many farmers are lulled into debt by big corporations to increase their operation, and then they have become basically enslaved to the corporations.
There is a big difference between what it used to be and what it is now.
The history of Calgary is a history of keeping backyard chickens until outlawed recently. Famous Calgarian chicken keepers include William R. Reeder, a former superintendent of Calgary Parks Department. Calgary preserved his yard, and it is now the beautiful Reeder Rock Garden just south of the Stampede grounds. Catherine Ford's grandfather, Clinton J. Ford, then city solicitor, the city's top lawyer, kept chickens in his yard in wealthy Mount Royal. He later became Chief Justice of the Alberta Supreme Court.
It's almost being hypocritical to our city's identity as a farming and ranching city.
Chickens have been bred for all types of climates. The Chanticleer breed was bred by a monk in Quebec in the early 1900s.
We have 3 Chanticleers, and they are never afraid to go outside on a rainy day because they were bred for our climate.
Factory farms and the transportation of animals to slaughter is quite gross. When you have a big barn or semi-truck full of chickens, some of them die and aren't discovered right away, sometimes for days. In our flock, if one died, we would know within hours, but more likely we would notice if a chicken was sick way before it got to that stage. It's easier to spot a sick chicken out of 6 than it is out of 6,000.
In smaller flocks, disease doesn't spread as fast, and it's easier to treat 1 or 2 chickens than to clean an entire factory.
If you get your chickens really young, it's possible that a mistake was made, and you might end up with a rooster. If so, you need to get rid of it right away, otherwise it will drive you and your neighbors crazy with the crowing. Keep your rooster in the garage until you take it to a slaughterer, or bring it back to the breeder.
Only roosters crow. They can be quite aggressive towards people, but hens are quiet and gentle. Often my neighbor's dogs are much louder and smellier than my chickens.
I used to only think of animals going extinct in the wild, but it makes sense that livestock breeds can become extinct as well. It makes sense that factory farms are going to select a breed that produces the most eggs in a short time and are suited to a barn.
You can find a whole lot of different types of breeds. There are different types of combs, colors, crests, temperaments, egg colors, and sizes.
A well cared for chicken will not disrupt a neighbor. Chickens are unique as an urban animal because they are fine in small yards, not like other animals that need a lot of space. We won't be seeing cows on the Deerfoot anytime soon.
If I was uneducated about chickens, I would be pretty worried. But now that I know a lot about chickens, I would be fine with it. And even happy because my neighbors might offer me eggs.
It's important that we know how to do basic skills to help us get food, water, and shelter. It's important that a lot of people know basic food provision skills like how to grow vegetables, how to care for chickens, how to preserve food, and how to cook it. It makes us more informed, even if we don't all know how to do everything. If some of us have those skills, we can teach each other if we need to.
It's really fun to have people come and help care for your chickens. It can bring communities together. Then you have the people that are better at contributing to the community. So during the World Wars and the Great Depression, the government told us we were doing good for our country by keeping chickens and growing vegetables. And now the cities are telling us not to?
How will you contribute to the future and to the betterment of mankind?
I think that Calgary is really slow and should speed up or get up to speed about being greener and doing things that could be left of benefit. Chickens aren't smelly, dirty, or noisy than any other household pet or animal.
C. Wright Mills once said that freedom is not merely the opportunity to do as one pleases, neither is it merely the opportunity to choose between set alternatives. Freedom is, first of all, the chance to formulate the available choices, to argue over them, and then the opportunity to choose. I thought my mom was kind of crazy when she said she wanted to get chickens. She really is going overboard on the whole environmental thing. I never wanted to have chickens in our yard. The idea of turning our yard into a smelly farm disgusted me. Since we've got them, I've realized that it isn't all that bad. I'm not a chicken lover, but now that I've seen them, I'm not a hater.
I think chickens are really cool, and I have done a lot of research into them. I asked my mom if we could have them, but she didn't think we could fit them into our yard. After I answered all her questions about chicken care and why the eggs are so much better, she said okay. I think she was mostly thinking about getting the eggs to feed me and my 2 brothers. We eat a lot.